Hey, happy Tuesday. Happy book review day. Today's book is Brave-Hearted by Katie Hickman. And this is a book all about the women who traveled west. Or I should say were living in the West even. So, I mean, it really does a wonderful job of telling like the pioneer story, um, where women are often overlooked in terms of exploring and moving west and settling. And it also looks at Mexican and Mexican American women who were also living out there or previously living to, previous to Americans settling out there. It covers Native American women, both prior to pioneers taking their land and those confrontations, and then also, after um, living side by side with colonizers as well. So it's really interesting. I mean, there's stories about the Donner Party, surviving members, and what Hickman does is, she relies really heavy on historical documents, journals and letters and those kind of things. And so she's able to tell you, what the thoughts were of these people at different times. When she's looking at things like on the traditionally pioneer trail kind of thing, the journals that she looks at, several of them only record how far they've traveled and how many dead bodies they've seen, or how many graves. And so you really get a taste of just how stark and dangerous it was for people to do that, to undertake that. And, you also get some testimony for like the court cases where Native Americans were fighting for their deals that the U.S. government had struck with them. And, so then you have some actual transcribed conversations that were occurring. There's a lot of information in there about towards the end. The book kind of ends with Custer and that whole confrontation and the mass executions and it's really dark, and you've seen some of those stories before, I'm sure, but being told through the lens of the women present or involved or engaged is just gives a really different perspective to it. And I really enjoyed Hickman's writing. It's very approachable, and yet it's also well documented with footnotes throughout, endnotes at the end of the book. Um, Lots of resources. It's only like 330 pages, I think, of actual book, but then the sources and everything bring it up to about 370 pages. I got it from the Scott County Library, but obviously you can do this. You can get an audiobook. I also listened to that actually on Libby for part of it, and they did a really good job with that. What you miss is if you do the audiobook, you do get this part. They literally read the miles and graves, but you miss out on some of the maps and pictures. There are images of the different people she's talking about built throughout. And then you have maps of the region and that kind of thing as well. So if you're into history and you want it from a different perspective, and if you're at all interested in women's history, and you should be, this is definitely a book I'd recommend. So, Brave-Hearted Women. What is the rest of it? The Women of the American West. Katie Hickman. What are you reading? Thanks so much.